Okay, let's begin by saluting the three jhanas. Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Dharmaya.
Namo Dharmaya.
Namo Sanghaya.
Namo Sanghaya.
Namo Namah.
Namo Namah.
Om.
Om.
Ah. Just sitting. So, before the puja this evening, Swadeepa will read from actually a much later section in the commentary from Bhante, and it picks up on a thread which was touched on in the material for today, where Bhante's talking about respectability, and while he questions the need to correct people's false views of oneself. And in the reading, we'll hear some views, some false views about Bhante as he tells them. So that would be before the worship section. Then after the worship section, Vidyakara, beg your pardon, will be leading the. Is that right? I've got that wrong, haven't I? Oops. Udara. Thank you. Yeah. Udara will be leading the Avalokiteshvara mantra. We'll do the refuges and precepts in unison as usual. Then, after the entreaty and supplication stage from Atisha, we'll have the pithy precept. Looking at how to condense the teaching in a time of urgency or even emergency, to lose the outward trappings and concentrate on the fundamentals. So that'll be from Vijimani. And then after the transference of merit and self-surrender section, Vidyakara will lead the green Tara mantra. And during all of that, feel free to come up and make offerings, as either of the mantras are a fair game for making offerings. And I think the other thing I'll say is I'm aware in myself at how the atmosphere on the retreat is really starting to deepen and grow among us. It's really lovely coming to the upper dining room today, and the assembled folks were just eating very contentedly in silence. And I noticed in the discussion group as well, with Shiva Viva and I, there's a sense of us coming together very much, and puja is a particularly sort of potent practice to bring us even further together and just tap into that collective spirit that we're growing. So both within this shrine room and more broadly with the people joining us on Zoom, the effect of our coming together is being felt. So I just encourage you to tune into that and allow it to grow in the course of this practice. Okay, so we'll have a few moments again of just sitting, and then Swadeepa will go up to the microphone and read in his own time.
think you can really hear Bhante's voice in this passage, but for better or worse, I can't imitate it. Why should you be so concerned what people think about you, even though it's wrong? Obviously, it's better that they don't think anything wrong about you. But is it worthwhile spending all your time and all your energy, year after year, just to correct some people's wrong impression about you? Sometimes there are some misunderstandings that it is better to accept. Otherwise, you can spend all your life putting right people's wrong ideas about you. And there's no end to that sometimes. If it's Dharma, that's another matter, if you happen to be a Buddhist or a follower of the Dharma. But if it is just some foolish people's wrong idea about you, why bother too much? If the misunderstanding can be corrected easily, well, okay. But if it's going to take more time and more energy than it really deserves, well, think very seriously before you spend that time and that energy to that extent. It reminds me a bit about that occasion I sometimes mention, when I was introduced to a Bombay audience by an over-enthusiastic Buddhist as an ex-Christian, who had not only once been a Christian, but a Catholic priest, a bishop, and even Pope. I could have sat down and written an article, at least, demonstrating how I couldn't possibly have had time to be Pope, and mentioning all the people who actually were popes, had been popes. But it didn't seem worthwhile spending time on it. It didn't do any harm, luckily. They thought, how wonderful. He was even Pope, but he still became a Buddhist monk. And they cheered and clapped and applauded. So there must be thousands of people in Bombay who still think that once upon a time I was Pope. But they were all enjoying it so much I didn't like to spoil their fun. And the chap who introduced me so evidently believed this, I don't know where he picked it up, and told the story with such conviction and such admiration for my spirit of renunciation, willing to give up even the pleasures of the Vatican to become a simple Buddhist monk in India. In the same way, I didn't bother to correct the story that I had been a fighter pilot during the war, whereas I had been, in fact, something much less heroic. Just isn't worth it. These are the two great legends about me that I actually heard. Though there was another legend that some people recounted coming up from Calcutta, and I have no idea how this started. They came up from Calcutta, and I think they came especially to Kalimpong to see me. It was an American couple, elderly people interested in Buddhism. And in the course of the evening they said, we heard while you were in Calcutta the story of how you became a Buddhist monk. It was so wonderful. It was so inspiring. I said, oh yes. So they said, yes, the way you left that girl just standing there. So I asked what they meant, and they said, you know, you remember what happened. So-and-so told us the whole story. So I asked exactly what he had said. It transpired that they had been told this story, but they wouldn't say who actually told them. It was in England, and I was a young man, and I was going to be married. And I was there in the church, just in front of the altar, with her at my side. I had a sudden realization, and just in the nick of time, before the words were pronounced, which would have made us man and wife forever and ever, I just leapt out of the church and got ordained as a Buddhist monk. This was the dramatic story that they'd heard in Calcutta. And even though I disclaimed it, they were not convinced. That's the interesting thing. They didn't want to, though they clearly felt that for some unknown reason I was not willing to own up to this account. But they said they had it on impeccable authority and they knew it was true. So I didn't argue anymore. So maybe this story is still doing the rounds of Calcutta and Kalimpong and elsewhere. You might even find it in a little biography of me one day. So, after these various experiences of actually hearing myself described as an ex-pope in a public meeting with thousands of people present, and seeing in print this story about my being an ex-fighter pilot in a newspaper, and having the experience of people disbelieving me when I denied that I'd become a monk in that dramatic manner, I really started wondering about all these ancient Buddhist legends about the different saints and sages and yogis and teachers. Because in India, at least, legends and stories get around so easily. So if this can happen even in my own lifetime, and despite my own explicit denials, what must have happened in the old days, centuries after the death of some teacher?
The sevenfold puja. Firstly, worship. With Mandarava, blue lotus and jasmine.
With Mandarava, blue lotus and jasmine.
With all flowers pleasing and fragrant.
With all flowers pleasing and fragrant.
And with garlands skillfully woven.
And with garlands skillfully woven.
I pay honour to the princes of the sages.
I pay honour to the princes of the sages.
So worthy of veneration.
So worthy of veneration.
I envelop them in clouds of incense.
I envelop them in clouds of incense.
Sweet and penetrating.
Sweet and penetrating.
I make them offerings of food, hard and soft.
I make them offerings of food, hard and soft.
And pleasing kinds of liquids to drink.
And pleasing kinds of liquids to drink.
I offer them lamps encrusted with jewels.
I offer them lamps encrusted with jewels.
Festooned with golden lotus.
Festooned with golden lotus.
On the paving sprinkled with perfume.
On the paving sprinkled with perfume.
I scatter handfuls of beautiful flowers.
I scatter handfuls of beautiful flowers.
Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum.
Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Mani Padme Hum. Om 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 Mani Padme Hum. Salutation. As many atoms as there are,
as many atoms as there are,
in the 1,000 million worlds,
in the 1,000 million worlds,
so many times I make reverent salutation
so many times I make reverent salutation
to all the Buddhas of the 3 eras,
to all the Buddhas of the 3 eras,
to the Dharma,
to the Dharma,
and to the excellent community.
and to the excellent community.
I pay homage to all the shrines
I pay homage to all the shrines
and places in which the Bodhisattvas have been.
and places in which the Bodhisattvas have been.
I make profound obeisance to the teachers
I make profound obeisance to the teachers
and those to whom respectful salutation is due.
and those to whom respectful salutation is due.
Going for refuge. This very day,
This very day,
I go for my refuge
I go for my refuge
to the powerful protectors,
to the powerful protectors,
whose purpose is to guard the universe,
whose purpose is to guard the universe,
the mighty conquerors who overcome suffering everywhere.
the mighty conquerors who overcome suffering everywhere.
Wholeheartedly also I take my refuge
Wholeheartedly also I take my refuge.
in the Dharma they have ascertained,
In the Dharma they have ascertained,
which is the abode of security against the rounds of rebirth.
which is the abode of security against the rounds of rebirth.
Likewise in the host of Bodhisattvas,
Likewise in the host of Bodhisattvas,
I take my refuge.
I take my refuge.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami, dhammang saranang gacchami, sanghang saranang gacchami, dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami, dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami, dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami, tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami, tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami, tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Panatipata veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami. Adinadana veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami. Kamesu michachara veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami. Musavada veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami. Kamesu michachara veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami. Musavada 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 veramani sikk Savajaya Veramani Sikapadam Samadhyami Sampapalapa Veramani Sikapadam Samadhyami Isunavajaya Veramani Sikapadam Samadhyami Abhijaya Veramani Sikapadam Samadhyami Vyapada Veramani Sikapadam Samadhyami Michaditya Veramani Sikapadam Samadhyami Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. With deeds of loving kindness, I purify my body. With open-handed generosity, I purify my body. With stillness, simplicity, and contentment, I purify my body. With truthful communication, I purify my speech. With kindly communication, I purify my speech. With helpful communication, I purify my speech. With harmonious communication, I purify my speech. Abandoning covetousness for tranquility, I purify my mind. Changing hatred into compassion, I purify my mind. Transforming ignorance into wisdom, I purify my mind. Confession of faults. The evil that I have heaped up, through my ignorance and foolishness, evil in the world of everyday experience, as well as evil in understanding and intelligence, all that I acknowledge to the protectors, standing before them, with hands raised in reverence, and terrified of suffering, I pay salutations again and again. May the leaders receive this kindly, just as it is with its many faults. What is not good, O protectors? I shall not do again. Rejoicing in merit. I rejoice with delight. In the good done by all beings, through which they obtain rest, with the end of suffering. May those who have suffered be happy. I rejoice in the release of beings, from the sufferings of the rounds of existence. I rejoice in the nature of the Bodhisattva, and the Buddha, who are protectors. I rejoice in the arising of the will to enlightenment, and the teaching, those oceans that bring happiness to all beings, and are the abode of welfare of all beings. entreaty and supplication. Saluting them with folded hands,
Saluting them with folded hands,
I entreat the Buddhas in all the quarters.
I entreat the Buddhas in all the quarters.
May they make shine the lamp of the Dharma.
May they make shine the lamp of the Dharma.
For those wandering in the suffering of delusion.
For those wandering in the suffering of delusion.
With hands folded in reverence,
With hands folded in reverence,
I implore the conquerors desiring to enter nirvana.
I implore the conquerors desiring to enter nirvana.
May they remain here for endless ages,
May they remain here for endless ages,
so that life in this world does not grow dark.
so that life in this world does not grow dark.
At another time, Atisha stated, "This Kali Yuga is not the time to display your ability. It is the time to persevere through hardship. It is not the time to take a high position, but the time to be humble. It is not the time to rely on many attendants, but a time to rely on isolation. Nor is it the time to subdue disciples. It is the time to subdue yourself. It is not the time of merely listening to words, but the time of contemplation upon their meaning. Nor is it the time to go visiting here and there. It is the time to stay alone.
The Heart Sutra. The Bodhisattva of compassion, when he meditated deeply, saw the emptiness of all five skandhas and sundered the bonds that caused him suffering. Here then, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form. Form is only emptiness, emptiness only form. Feeling, thought and choice, consciousness itself are the same as this. All things are by nature void. They are not born or destroyed, nor are they stained or pure, nor do they wax or wane. So, in emptiness, no form, no feeling, thought or choice, nor is there consciousness. No eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, no colour, sound, smell, taste, touch, or what the mind takes hold of, nor even act of sensing. No ignorance or end of it, nor all that comes of ignorance. No withering, no death, no end of them. Nor is there pain or cause of pain, or cease in pain or noble path to lead from pain, not even wisdom to attain. Attainment too is emptiness. So know that the Bodhisattva, holding to nothing whatever, but dwelling in prajna wisdom, is freed of delusive hindrance, rid of the fear bred by it, and reaches clearest nirvana. All Buddhas of past and present, Buddhas of future time, using this prajna wisdom, come to full and perfect vision. Hear then the great Dharani, the radiant peerless mantra, the prajna paramita, whose words allay all pain. Hear and believe its truth. Gate, gate, paragate, parasangate, bodhiswaha. Gate, gate, paragate, parasangate, bodhiswaha. Gate, gate, paragate, parasangate, bodhiswaha. Transference of merit and self-surrender. May the merit gained, in my acting thus, go to the alleviation of the suffering of all beings. My personality throughout my existences. My possessions. And my merit in all three ways. I give up without regard to myself. For the benefit of all beings. Just as the earth and other elements are serviceable in many ways to the infinite number of beings inhabiting limitless space, so may I become that which maintains all beings, situated throughout space, so long as all have not attained to peace.
Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Swaha. 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 Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Swaha.
Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Swaha. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Swaha. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Swaha. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Swaha. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Swaha. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Swaha. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Swaha. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Swaha. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Swaha. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Swaha. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Swaha. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Swaha. Om 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 Mani Padme Hum. 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 Om Marapajanadi. Om Marapajanadi. Om Marapajanadi. Om Marapajanadi. Om Marapajanadi. Om Marapajanadi. Om Vajrapani Hum. 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 Om Tare Tu Re Swaha. Om Tare Tu Re tare ture swaha.
Om Tare Ture Swaha.
Om Amideva Hri.
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 Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha.
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 Om Ahung Vajraguru Padma Siddhi Hung.
Om Ahom Vajraguru Padma Siddhi Om.
Om Ahung Vajraguru Padma Siddhi Hung.
Om Ahom Vajraguru Padma Siddhi Om.
Om Ahung Vajraguru Padma Siddhi Hung.
Om Ahom Vajraguru Padma Siddhi Om.
Gate Gate Paragate Parasangate Bodhi Swaha.
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 Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
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 Shanti.